Hello and welcome. My name is Daniel Cairns and I'm the Head of Enrolments here at Fourth Rev. It gives me great pleasure to welcome you to our Ask Me Anything Q&A style webinar today for the LSE Data Analytics Career Accelerator, of which I'm very much looking forward to engaging with your good selves, but also very much so our special guest that I'll introduce shortly. Always, at the start of a webinar, there's a little bit of housekeeping, and I'm just going to give a quick overview for those of you that don't know about the Data Analytics Career Accelerator. I'll give you some information on that, and I will answer specific questions relating to that at the end of our discussion as well. Thank you, firstly, for joining. Secondly, you're on a journey yourself, as our guest Christian has been at one stage, around discovering what is best for you and what to invest in regarding your future, be that to accelerate your existing career in data, or especially those of you looking to change careers into a data-aligned career as well. Welcome. This is for you. So I do ask that you engage as much as possible so that you get as much as you can out of that. And what I mean by that is, if you have a question for myself or Christian at any time during the webinar, please drop it in the Q&A function at the bottom. We will use the chat function for a few things, and please feel free to introduce yourself in the chat function if you feel comfortable doing so. But also we will link assets in there that will be highly beneficial for you throughout the webinar as well. So questions in the Q&A, engagement and links in the chat. Firstly, a quick overview of the program. First and foremost, the Career Accelerator model with LSE has been running for 3 years or almost now, with great success. We've seen hundreds of learners go through the program and achieve their intended career outcomes, which is exactly what it's all about. It's designed to accelerate your career, hence the name. And it does that in a number of ways. Firstly, it's co-curated with both industry and the very best of academic underpinnings, in this case, obviously from the London School of Economics, ensuring that the content that you learn over this 6-month program is not only academically rigorous, but it's highly practical and relevant for exactly what employers are seeking. And that's why there's always constant change and addition being made to that, because industry have ongoing input into both the delivery and the design aspect of the program as well. As I said, it's a 6-month program. It's comprised of 3 courses and a live industry-facing project at the end. First course, Data Analytics for Business, in that you'll cover Excel and SQL. Secondly, you'll be doing data analytics using Python. Lastly, advanced analytics for organizational impact. Again, advancing your Python skills and also R as a language before you participate in a live industry-facing project at the end. So to frame that very, very quickly for you, potentially yourself amongst 4 or 5 other high caliber learners will be in a team, and you'll meet with one of our industry partners, such as Bank of England or others. They'll present to you a real challenge that they currently experience utilising big data sets, often both publicly and privately held data. And as a team, applying the skills that you've learnt along the first 3 courses, you'll come together to work as a team to come up with innovative and tangible solutions to that scenario that they've presented, providing your innovations and recommendations in a consultancy style presentation to the client at the end. Christian's going to tell us more about his experience in the industry project, but from our perspective, it was designed to have impact. And that is, firstly, it is a great way of practically applying your skills in a realistic environment. It is a brilliant way to network more deeply with your fellow peers and also leaders of industry. And lastly, if you are looking to change careers, you will be asked the question, no doubt, what experience do you have? This provides a platform to give you a much more inspiring demonstration of your value to a prospective employer than an exam result could ever be. Also throughout, speaking of exams, throughout the program, there are no exams. We think they're a waste of time and would rather empower you through the submission of projects and assignments to develop a portfolio of evidence along the way. Again, that is presentable to employers and that also has impact when demonstrating that to employers as well. The next presentation commences on the 8th of July. There is an onboarding process where you go through learning the learning management system, meeting your peers, going through a rigorous goal setting process. And that then couples with what is also unique within the program, which is the executive style career coaching program. It's one thing to learn the technical. We obviously have a quadrant of learning where you then apply that to the business or business aspects of data analytics. Your personal growth is core to the program, as well as your employability. And that quadrant is certainly chaperoned by an executive style career coach who you'll meet with one-on-one throughout the program. There is materials and tasks and the like to do as a part of the coaching program, but they will understand you deeply in the sense that diving into your values and aligning things like employees with values for not only greater enhancement of success in your application, but much better alignment of values and therefore enjoyment once you're successful in your chosen employer environment or your chosen role. But also profiling often your transferable skills from your current roles and industries into that new role, because employers do value what you bring in terms of experience in previous careers or industries as well. And just on that, if everyone could take a moment, just in the chat function, if you could just type what it is that you currently do and what you're looking to do. So it might be teacher, change careers, or teacher data analytics. If you feel comfortable, please engage with that, because we can certainly look at that, understand the audience a little deeper, and ask questions that are certainly relevant potentially to your experience or motivation to potentially study and transition your careers as well. So the career coaching, the learners that come from or that complete the program rank that extremely high alongside the relevance of the content as well. The program is £8,395, and we do make it accessible in a number of ways by supporting you with interest and fee-free payment plans. There is a reduced rate of £700 for making payment up front, and we do have 6, 9 and 24-month payment plans available. The best thing that you can do to understand what is best for you and your budget is book a time with your enrolment advisor if you haven't already. They're going to take a very consultative and empathetic approach to your investment in yourself and your decision, as it is a big one to either not only spend the time and money taken on the program, but also changing careers is a big decision. And you need someone that's going to listen to the alignment of outcomes that you intend to achieve as well. Entry requirements are also that you have a bachelor degree previously. This is aimed at a postgraduate level, and that your previous bachelor degree contains at least a quantitative unit of studies previously. If you haven't, but you do have a role that involves the use of data on a daily basis or is data aligned, again, you would be best advised to speak with your enrolment advisor, and they will give you your individual pathway to a successful application. It also requires the uploading of a CV and proof of identity, enabling the enrolment advisor then to reach out and process your application for greatest success. I'm going to answer program-specific, application-specific questions toward the end, but you've heard enough from me. So it gives me great pleasure, firstly, to thank you also for engaging with the comments that you are, but secondly, to welcome Christian, our valued alumni of the LSE Data Analytics program, to the webinar. Welcome, Christian, and thank you so much for your time as well.
Hello, everyone. Hello, Daniel. Thank you for having me today. And yeah, looking forward to answer some of the questions from potential new joiners of the Career Accelerator.
Fantastic. I certainly have a few questions for you because I find your story inspiring and fascinating. But for the audience benefit, would you mind giving an overview of your career to date, I guess?
Yeah, how much time do we have? Where should I start? So if I go back, like, let's say 15 years, I was studying economics here at a local university, and then took the chance. I was working in the food and beverage industry at the time to finance my studies, and I had a chance to found my own company. So that's what I did. I was 24 then, so something on a completely other industry, completely other side. Founded my own company then. It grew over the years. I picked up studying again, finished my bachelor's in business administration and a master's degree in finance, and accounting. And yeah, 10 years were gone. I was owning a couple of restaurants here in Germany and also a couple of cities. And then, yeah, some things happened. COVID came in. This led to the huge issues for our industries, for restaurant owners, and everybody employed within the F&B industry, of course. But also it led to the point where we digitalized our whole industry within 6 months, which would have been taking probably 5 years. So in 2020, we launched an app pretty quickly to accept orders from customers. And so at this point, I remembered that there was a lot of data coming in, and we had hundreds of orders per day in all of our restaurants, and we had information there regarding delivery times, postal codes, stuff like this. So I was basically I was using Excel to make some sense out of it, and I think I already noticed at the time that this is something that I kind of like, and I wanted to focus a bit more on this specific part of of my overall responsibilities, because I was like a general manager at the time. And yeah, so these were my starting points, where the analysis using Excel went a bit not to the limit, but you kind of come to this point where I feel like probably there's more to find out if you could expand your skill set, or if you know other tools. And yeah, I in 2022 I sold my company, so I sold everything, and decided to pivot into data analytics. And yeah, I did some coding on my own, learned a bit of SQL. I think most of the participants had starting points like this, so you have an interest, try to get better at something or understand how things are working. But you come to this point where you also need, or at least I felt like I would need some external support. And yeah, then I took the Career Accelerator last year, and now I'm working as a data analyst at Instacrit here in Germany for the last 8 months.
Congratulations, achieved not only your intended career outcome, but that's a seismic shift in one's career, big decision. And I'd love to unpack that a little further, because it is most interesting and inspiring. So along the way, also you welcomed a young one to the world. They're all big life changes, aren't they? And with family commitments and study and things like that, I'm keen to ask a question or two about that. But just a reminder for everyone, pop your questions in the Q&A. We'll get to them as quickly as possible. So you made the decision to look at the potential of a career change and started a journey of discovery, very much like the audience has as well. I guess, how did you come across this program and what stood out for you?
Yeah, that's a good question. There are plenty of programs out there, and plenty of ways to pivot into, like for my specific situation, to pivot into data analytics. So as I said before, I was already doing some stuff on my own, like learning some SQL. There are plenty of websites out there where you can just practice and everything. But what I was missing is some kind of guidance. So someone that is there and teaches you stuff, but also someone who shows you what the potential goal could be of a rather than just coding on your own, and you don't know really how you're advancing if you do it on your own. And so I made this decision to take a course, and then I was looking for the options. And for me, it was also very important, and this is probably applicable to non-UK students. So I'm from Germany, and I wanted to have a course that is taught in English. And for me, it was very important to have a diverse environment of participants, of people I work with throughout the course, because that's what I also wanted in my future career as a job. So this kind of diverse background environment was very important to me, and of course, yeah. Once I found the Career Accelerator, and then you see world-class academics of LSE. That's also, of course, a thing that I considered. Yeah.
Wonderful. You then commenced, as you said, last year. Was it everything that you thought it would be, or were there any surprises or challenges along the way that you weren't anticipating?
I think so. I think there are always challenges for all of us all the time. So things happen. Also, I noticed that throughout the course there were people with full-time work commitments. So it's tough to juggle everything. And there are always phases where you or where individuals are facing things that are happening at work or privately, whatever. I think the course. I was pretty ill last year in May, I remember, when my son started to go into the kindergarten and picked up all the bugs there. So I also had a phase of like 3 weeks or so where I was like really, where my condition was really bad. But there's a lot of support, and I think this program is kind of made for to adjust to specific circumstances. So I think I felt like it was very adjustable to your personal situation, and this was really interesting, but or a really good thing about the program. But I had a pre-onboarding, so I had a pre-onboarding call when I signed up for the program or I applied, and I think this call already answered a lot of questions and was very detailed when I remember it, and it was very helpful for me. So
That's great. And you had Niels, I think, guide you through your
yeah,
decision-making
yeah, yeah,
process.
yeah,
Did
you're
so
right.
with a great deal of empathy, no doubt, that I mentioned earlier. It's so important that we understand every individual's circumstances. So you commence the course and you've got a young one, obviously, that's bringing germs home from kindergarten, and you're not feeling so well. But how does one fit it in with a typical week? Now, your circumstances may have been a little differently, but there certainly are many learners that work full time. But what does a week look like when you're doing the course?
So actually, for me at the time when I started the course, I was like, our son was 1 year old. He was not in kindergarten at the time, so it was a bit the first couple of weeks were a bit busy. I think I don't know if it's still valid. I think the minimum required hours per week should be something like 25. I think was mentioned in the program, or 20 to 25.
Roughly 20, yeah,
Okay,
exactly.
yeah, something like this. What I like most is that you could, according to how much time you have, you could either spend 20 hours, but you can also dive deep into some topics. So there are a lot of extra readings and there's a lot of things to train on. So typically you have a call, I think a weekly call with your success manager also. So this is like a fixed point. Then you have your the facilitator with some lectures there. But throughout the course, it's for me the most important thing is that I was able to structure my week, as I wanted to. So I at the beginning shifted everything a bit towards the weekend because I had to take care over the week. And I could shift it back then when he was in kindergarten. So then I basically had a Monday to Friday week, and so this was very, especially in this situation, this was very helpful for me to make the program fit to my schedule and still align it with the other learners, kind of. So they're working differently, but you're still on the you're in this kind of fixed intervals which you're like all working on. That was very good.
And then during the week, there you mentioned there's a facilitated session. So there, for everyone's benefit, there is a blend of synchronous together learning and then asynchronous, the majority, meaning that it fits in with you rather than you fit in with university. But the live sessions per week, what do they entail?
So first of all, I have to say that Andre, who was our facilitator at the time, very experienced in the field of data analytics and a very good teacher. So very patient. and always looking forward to answer any questions as thorough as possible. So these weekly things were about what was happening at the specific part of the course. So I think it was separated in learning weeks. So you're, for example, in week 3, and then you have the weekly call with the facilitator, and the lecturer is kind of getting you, trying to explain everything that is happening within the week. But also there are assignments, and we had a chance to walk through them with him. And also there was always the option to contact our facilitators personally if we are facing any issues at the time. So yeah, that was very helpful. And this was kind of what I was looking for also.
Well, thank you. I'm going to just ask a couple more questions to understand your journey, and especially the relevance that I'll get to next around the skills that you use in the workplace now, but also your journey to getting that new job. So a two-part question: how practical is the learning? I mentioned it at the start, there's no exams. And how relevant is the learning in the real world of data analytics that you're in now?
So I think the structure of the program, as you already mentioned it, you start with Excel, a tool that most of the people know, and then you start to expand your skills. Looking back from what I'm doing right now, my daily work life contains much of what I've learned in the course, especially SQL and Tableau. So I think it depends on. So the course gives a really, really good foundation for starting your career or advancing your career within the field of data analytics. And this is very important because you learn all of the technical skills. And of course, this is just the starting point. And I think some people probably pivot a bit more into data science. They will be using more Python. Me, for myself, I'm writing a lot of SQL every day, and so I think that's the important thing to consider. That the foundation is really good. So SQL, Tableau, also Excel, of course. I want to exclude this, but SQL was really the basis for me to get started within my job now. Yeah, and besides this, I just want to mention there's also a lot of things to learn besides the technical things. So the course also covers this. Yeah.
Good point. And that brings me, I guess, before we find out about how you landed the role and how this course assisted with that, but you went through the 3 courses and then the industry project that I mentioned also. What was that experience like to be able to apply your learning to a real industry project?
That was very, very nice. So we had a really good employer partner based in London, and we were able to analyze pretty huge marketing data sets. It was static data, but it was campaigns they have been running in the past for a client in the US. And our team, we were 5, and also pretty diverse. So we were spread over Europe. 2 or 3, I think, were having full-time work permits at that time, and so you already knew your colleagues within the group from the last couple of months, so we already knew each other kind of, but then the collaboration, getting together on this kind of project, and also because it was a huge project, we had to split up things, and finding your part where you're working on, and then try to align it with your colleagues. That was very very interesting. And also you will have regular meetings with the employer partner where you have to present your findings and your progress and see if you're on track for the project. And we were able to create an outcome for them where they said, wow, that's something that we haven't known before. And I think this kind of journey throughout the employer project was a very, very important one, also to increase your employability afterwards.
Yeah, well, on that's fantastic that you've given them something of great value, and I think to then frame that for your benefit moving forward. You finished the program and you started applying for roles. Tell me, I guess, how did the coaching process and program assist with that and take us how was the coaching in assisting you find a new role?
So I was in my previous position, as I said, for like, I don't know, 10, 12 years. So I was not really used to, um, create a personal brand and, do a bit of marketing for yourself. So career coaching was very helpful, but it was not also helpful to create a personal brand, but it was also very helpful to find out where you can apply the strengths that got from your previous job, from your work experience, and how to fit this into a potential new employer. So this was very interesting because after the course, I did not apply just randomly. So I tried to find companies that could um, could use the skills that I got from my previous job combined with what I got over the Career Accelerator. And for me, especially coming from having my own company, kind of, I was a bit, I thought I might not be fitting in a huge corporate environment. So I wanted something in between. And this is what I was aiming for with my career coach at the time. And yeah, so I ended up applying for more medium-sized companies with teams that are probably a bit more not siloed is probably the wrong word in big companies, but you're kind of working on a very specific part of data analytics. And my goal was to find something where the spectrum is a bit more wider, where you do a lot of things and where you can also, bring in the skills that that I had from my previous job. Yeah, so I think I found something.
Yeah, that's a really good insight, and having the coach assist with that. It's more than just about although they do assist with your branding and the like and positioning, as you mentioned, but the alignment of your intended outcome and your fit, giving you a greater chance of success and enjoyment as well. That's great. So you had the interview. Did they ask about the program and how did you pitch the benefits of you undertaking the program to the employer?
Yeah, they did. And they were actually quite impressed by, so my manager had, has 10 to, I don't know, 12 years experience in data, data science, data analytics, also being a bit more on the engineering side. So very, very proficient technically. And so they were looking for, first of all, for someone who was already a bit senior, but not necessarily in the field. So they wanted someone to interact with stakeholders internally, which they can let out from the, I don't know, first month. But looking at the employer project, I think she also mentioned that this is something very special, that we were like collecting practical experience, working on real life data and presenting it also, because you have the presentations for the with the employer partner, also presenting your outcomes to a potential client, right? And we were in this employer project, we were pretty free of what we want to do, or trying to do. I think as I said, we created some insights. We also created a little app which was delivered like on a Mac. You can click on it and then you can input I think the spend and the ad platform, and it was predicting the views and clicks this could generate. So this was something you could really use for a potential interview and say like, wow, look at this. We created something like this. It was not like 100% fit, but it was still something that showed how we were able to use our skills that we learned throughout the program. Yeah,
that's a great example to give. Practical. We're going to get to the audience questions now, I guess. I might have one or two more, but just a reminder for everyone. Please pop your questions in the Q&A and we'll get to them as quickly as we can. And if there's some specific ones regarding application or program specific ones, I'll answer them at the end. So Anu's asked, and thank you, Anu, you've asked a couple of questions here, which is awesome. But my first one from Anu is, how easy will it be for someone that does not have data analytics or science experience before they switch and cope with the switch into data analytics? So I guess for Anu's benefit there, you're the epitome of having some commercial understanding of the value of data, but then going through a process of formalizing the skills to enhance that. So is it a confidence builder in that regard for Anu's benefit?
So just let me just read the question in the chat also. How, yeah, it's a, so I think there are some skill, it always depends on what you consider as being easy or difficult. I think specifically speaking about the program, there's also an onboarding phase and everything starts there. I think if you commit to what is taught there, but also if you you will be very well prepared within the first couple of weeks, and this helped me a lot to get this kind of, first of all, having a goal where you want to be in the future. So is it data science? Is it data analytics? Is it, what do you want to, where do you want to work on in the future? And be clear about what the differences are also. And then, be aware of that you need skills like frustration, resistance, something like this, over the period of the course. And that's something that you build. I would not say it's easy. So if you're switching careers, I think it's never easy. But there are a couple of techniques and a couple of techniques I would say that kind of accelerate this this progress or this pivot into a new role. So it's not easy, especially when you then start a job. But as I said, I think landing a job, if you have already collected something in the past, combined with the outcomes of the career accelerator, is definitely a thing that is super possible. And then you start again at a new point. I think it's it's always these kind of starting points where I was 12 months or 15 months back, and this was the kind of start of the journey, and then you go into a new role and you start learning again, and you kind of build within those steps. I think it's not easy, but if you commit to it, I think it's definitely possible.
Yeah, you made a really good point there as well about setting goals, and there is certainly that goal setting process during the onboarding that can really set you up to focus on the little decisions that you make along the way and the coaching of you along the way, enabling the acceleration of your career, hence the name of the program. There's many in the audience that are looking to change careers into data, and I've noticed in the comments, thank you everyone as well, that there's many looking to apply the skills to their current careers. And someone's asked regarding assessments. I'll ask that down the bottom first. How can the assessment be fair with no exams? So can you talk us through how you're assessed on the work that you submit?
So I don't like exams too much. I think they are necessary in some points in life, but especially I would say not in courses like this, because people even backgrounds were super diverse, and people were from everywhere in the world. They had a clear goal. They wanted to achieve something with the course, and what I felt that people were super motivated throughout the course, and kind of cutting this off with an exam and then starting all over again is I think would have not been the right way to handle it. So at the end of each of each part of the course, there was an assignment. So you were basically working on this. So the three parts of the course, they were split into weeks, and you had basically every week you were learning something. And at the end, or maybe a couple of days later, at the end of the week, you were working on a part of the final assignment of this specific block. And at the end of each of the three courses, you were basically putting everything together. And yes, so basically you were applying what you've been learning over the past 6 weeks or so, or 6 or 8 weeks, and then you kind of forged it together into an assignment and handed it in. Yes, and besides this, a very useful tool also throughout the course, every week there was like 1 or 2 topics when you work through the content in the online platform where you had to peer review something for other participants of the course. So that helped to foster connection and, also to just lower the barriers, kind of. You get in touch with each other, and it's just normal that you won't agree on everything. And this kind of environment was very helpful. So these are the two things that how we are assessed.
You make a good point. The peer review aspect does foster that sense of community and is reflective of the real world in which we live in. We don't do exams at work. What we do is engage and collaborate, and that's much more important than an examination process. And as you said, there's certainly a need for examinations in some fields. However, they're not productive. They are an assessment of what you know at that time. And very rarely do you get feedback on your exam that tells you the correct answers to the ones you got wrong. That, to me, in that whole process would be the most valuable learning outcome, because you've demonstrated what you knew and what you didn't know, yet the process doesn't enable you to go back and learn what you didn't know. It doesn't make it. It makes sense in some degrees. But to sum it up, exams aren't practical. To have a portfolio of evidence and an inspiring story to tell an employer, be it through the practical industry project or the assignments that you do along the way, is much more memorable for them when you tell a story in an interview, much more so than someone saying I got 86% of my exam. But it's more the application of learning, as you've said, is much deeper when it's based around things that interest you, things that you can adapt and understand the application of in the real world, and hopefully things that inspire you as well. That's a great question. Thank you from the audience for that one. Someone's got a nice question for you, and I think I may have asked you this earlier before we came on air. Would you not like to open your own company again, or is the salary good so that you'd rather stay in data? So don't have to answer a whole lot, but answer what you feel comfortable with.
Yeah, it's a very valid question, of course. So there were obvious reasons why I decided to pivot out of having my own company. Generally, like, the most important thing was the 24/7 availability, and there was like always too much work to be I was not able to handle everything, and it was like continuous over the last couple of years. And so the decision was made, and I told you before we started the AMA, the grass is always greener on the other side. Of course, I miss parts of it. So being able to create your kind of own environment and everything, this was always very refreshing. But I am very happy with my role right now, and it's the starting point. It's an amazing company, and I think there are, which I was not really aware of, and my career coach told me at the time, there are many companies out there with like-minded people where you also fit in the role of an employee, right? So I'm having freedom of choice. I'm having a remote contract. I can go to Spain 3 months if I want to work from there. I don't have to, I'm super flexible. There are, of course, some meetings happening every day, but I can flexibly adjust my personal schedule to the job. It's a safer environment, and it's not as frustrating as it was before in my previous role. So yeah, I'm still very happy. I was learning a lot over the last 8 months, and there's still so much more to come. So I'm currently very happy, and I think salary-wise, you always can, if you are able to show what you can bring in and how you could improve things in the company and how you can be an good addition to a data team. I think there's always there will always be a fit on this side. So
yeah, that's excellent. From your perspective then in industry, and we've certainly got some statistics that back up the success rate of the program, but someone's asked, international graduate with a valid work visa in the UK wanted to know employment prospects for similar graduates after completing the LSE program. I don't expect you to know that exactly, but in industry in general, and I guess even when you think back to your restaurant business days, what is the demand like now in industry for people with these types of skills broadly, do you feel?
Um, I think it's still growing. Nowadays, over the last 2 years, there was a lot of stuff happening with AI and everything, and we use it on a daily basis. We use, I don't know, stuff like GitHub Copilot and everything. So that is very helpful, and I think there's still a high demand because if I if I look back in my previous industry, and we had a lot of franchise businesses within Germany, and they are grown. They have like 150 restaurants in Germany, so there are a couple of those, and I think none of them uses their data in a way that they could do. And I think there's
Yeah.
still like uh, there are companies that are quite advanced using data to make business decisions, but I think there's still like the biggest part is still there's just no one there with the skills and the insights. So I think there's still much more to come, and the field is still very open. You just have to convince companies to use data and base their decisions on data.
Exactly. It is still growing, one of the largest growing fields still in the world. And we anticipate obviously through market research and trends that continuing for quite some time, partly and mostly due to the fact that you just mentioned that there's still such a need to adopt and take up the use of data in business predictions, business decisions, and even the human element as well, internally. Couple more questions. I'm mindful of time, so we do want to get through them all. Someone's asked, are there payment plans for this program? Yes, I'll go through them shortly. How did you cope with studies and just general life? I might ask this, and thank you for the question, whoever asked that one, but I might just elaborate on that a little because your circumstance was slightly different. But how did you fit it in? But how did you see others fit it in around their full-time roles, for example, not just yourself with family and winding down business commitments and things like that?
So my team within the employer project, as I said, I think 3 or 4 of them were working full time during the course. So mostly they shifted everything to the weekends. Throughout the employer project, we had regular meetings on the weekends. But I also, as I said, at the time of the employer project, I did most of my work in the week, within the weeks, and on the weekdays, and then we kind of aligned on the weekends. So I think it is it is tough, like always, if you're working full time and you decide to take a course or something like this. But I think they were doing pretty well in juggling everything. Of course, it gets intense, towards the end of the course. That's absolutely clear. But I don't know, like I don't have the data, but I don't know. I felt like there were a lot of participants that were working and doing the course at the same time. So I think that's definitely possible.
Yeah, it would be over 85% are working either full or in a large, significant capacity whilst taking on study. And that does require commitment, but it also requires sacrifice from people. Let's not kid ourselves. It's an intensive program. It's taking people, from little to advanced skills in data analytics in a 6-month period with the academic rigor that is so sound. But in saying that, once someone understands that level of sacrifice that is required and engages with those that may be impacted on that level of sacrifice, so it could be family or it could be colleagues or it could be friends, there are going to be scenarios where you're going to have to tell your partner, look, I can't start that Netflix series now because I've got assignments due in the coming weeks, or I can't go for drinks on Friday night with the girls because I've got an assignment due. Talk to those people that are maybe somewhat impacted, not directly, but they need an understanding of your commitment and the benefit of you doing the program. We always recommend that people do that. And who's made another comment there regarding a coding course that they undertook that they weren't able to get the encouragement to finish. I guess we haven't touched on that. How are you supported outside of the industry-based facilitator, and Andre, in your example, and the career coach? Are there other supports to help you get through successfully, such as the success managers?
Yes, of course. So besides, I think this was a very valid question because I did the same. So I did like some, I don't know, stuff on some websites, and you were like kind of coding, but after a time you're like, okay. So I think first of all, the structure of having any program that is kind of taught really helps. And within the Career Accelerator, I didn't mention the success managers yet. That's true. So you have also weekly meetings or biweekly, whatever you want, whatever you need with your personal success manager. So they are, they're checking in with you to see how everything is going, how you're progressing, what kind of obstacles you're facing, and they also help you to, if you're having, if you're getting ill, like I was for like 3 weeks, they also help you to, keep up and find solutions how to still deal with the intensity of the program. So yeah, very, very important and very insightful one-on-ones with the success manager. So really good support from Fourth Rev at the time.
Excellent. I hope you, I guess you more than others may even appreciate the customer aspect we take it delivering the support with your hospitality background. Thomas has asked here, you mentioned there were reading on the exam. There's no exams, Thomas, so there's external readings from the portal. We'll touch on that, but this is a good question. Is there also reading exploring the application of data analysis in different industries or disciplines? And if so, what is the range? So, for example, are there papers exploring data analytics in sociology, history, or philanthropy? And I guess in that, the business scenarios in which you are given as a part of the content, and then you obviously do the external research and readings surrounding them. How broad is that in a context, or what sort of fields are covered, if you recall?
So I think it's quite broad. So there's nothing like specific. You have readings that allow you to drill down into stuff within every part of the course. I think if you have specific requirements or specific needs that you want to have more insights to, I think you can reach out to either your facilitator or people that that are present in the course, if there is anything that you really to be drilling down. Yeah, so when I think back, like most of the additional readings, they were like really broad. So there was everything inside. It could be like, I don't know, how, whatever, let's stay with the restaurant example, how a restaurant company in the US is doing predictive modeling to, find new locations for their stores. But it could also be something more in the field of sociology, which you just mentioned. So yeah, I think it covers a wide spectrum, but if you have the need to find something more specific, I think this is something you can address in the course, right?
Good question, Thomas, and a great response as well, Christian. There's also great value, Thomas, in being exposed to different industries and bringing innovation from them to yours in particular as well, or your area of interest. And in the ones that you've mentioned, it would be brilliant to not only explore data in those fields, but commercial application of that data in those types of fields, which would be very hard to find in a program anywhere in the world, really. Here's another question. Do you get support after the course? So I'm going to answer part of that, but I'm also going to pose a question, Christian, to you about that. The coaching also is flexible in the sense that you may, as starting from scratch, want to immerse yourself in the learning first before you feel confident and competent to apply for roles in the data fields. So that means that you can put off the coaching until the end of the program or even after the program to align with your job seeking or applications even that are going to hold value for you in that process. In addition to that, and I'll ask Christian, I don't know if you were able to make it, but were you invited also to the recent AI for Data Analytics Masterclass?
Yes.
Did you attend that?
No, I didn't have time at it.
That's fine. So yes, in terms of support after the course, we always invite our alumni now to our AI masterclasses that are embedded as a part of the learners program. So it will be current learners that attend them almost exclusively with our alumni because it's changing so rapidly. Obviously, we decided to recruit globally recognized leaders within their sectors and their innovations within to ensure that during the live workshops and masterclasses that we do host, that content is the most up-to-date as possible, because I think I would encourage anyone to question any content that's more than 12 or 18 months of age now, because it's obviously changing so rapidly, and that's why we've taken the decision to offer it as a value offering for learners during the program in the form of live events and workshops, and also for our alumni as well. So next question. I currently work as a senior manager in a company. I'm looking to switch to data analytics, but obviously don't want to go down to entry-level positions. How easy, difficult is it to obtain roles that are not entry-level if you're new to data analytics? And that's perfect, Christian, because that's exactly what you did.
Yeah, that's true. So yeah, I was basically in a similar position. And of course, I think I don't know your background, but my background was very different. But when you're switching or pivoting careers, you always have to go one step back, because I just started. I started as a data analyst, but there's so much to learn. You come well prepared after the course, but then you already have a steep learning curve within the job you're probably going to work in. So what is very important to note is that there will be a lot of companies out there, from my experience, that are valuing what your previous experience was. So the field of data analytics, and if you want to work as a data analyst, it's kind of a wide spectrum how you will, or on what you will be working, from like analytical engineering up to, I don't know, being the product owner of the BI dashboards that you're producing. And I think when you have managing experience, and you pivot into the field of data analytics, first of all, it's all about getting your skills, expanding your skills. I'm currently learning, still every day. But once you reach this point, and it should be clear before that there will be a time of, where you have to like really focus on getting the technical skills on a high level. And I think once you like kind of achieve this, then you can develop on this. But of course you're right. It can be a bit difficult, but I think there are ways to where you will be able to fit your skill set into a specific position in a company in the future.
You've articulated that really well, and it's a really good and common question that we do receive. But the numerous examples that we have of people, as you said, changing careers, but really diving deep into aligning their transferable skills, of which everyone has, in our opinion. And as a senior manager in a company, you would obviously have many. I'm not sure what industry it is, but there's also industry-specific data-focused roles that pop up in industries where you can meld your current industry experience as well as the data skills. But also, I think Christian's answer earlier, if you revert back to that about finding the fit as well, if it's a large corporation and you're making that switch, it's probably going to be a more junior role than it would be within a growing environment that has multiple facets to the role that you may be responsible for, such as the one that Christian's found. So great question. Certainly there's the potential of an understanding of taking a step back to then move forward somewhat. I don't think you'll be applying for entry-level roles. I think there's a great deal more value that you can offer an employer given your previous experience as well. Now, I'm an international student on a postgraduate visa with a master's degree in data science and business analytics. I've just finished uni last year, September, with no experience in the UK. I've been looking for a data entry role, data analyst, junior roles, but I've not been able to get any. I've sent over 600 applications in 3 months, just got one interview. That needs addressing yourself first and foremost, in my opinion. There's opportunity to structure that completely different if that's the results you've experienced so far. And I want to offer you, Adam, something at the end of this as well. I'm still sharpening up my skills while on the lookout. What is the chances of getting a job taking the program with the LSE Career Accelerator? 90% of our learners obtain their intended career outcome that complete the program and the coaching element within 6 months of graduating the program. Adam, can I please ask that you book a time with your enrolment advisor by using the link in the chat? because there is something that we would be able to offer and assist you with specifically, I think you're in good hands going through the Career Accelerator model, not only for the reason that Christian's outlined about positioning and the like, but there's also something that we may be able to assist you with there, because 600 applications in 3 months, you need to change something about the way you're going about it, and certainly the career coaching for you in particular will set you on a different path of success there, even though it sounds like you've got a lot of the technical skills already. Are there payment plans for the program? Someone's asked. I'll jump in and answer that one quickly, Christian, before we say cheerio and farewell. There are certainly payment plans available for the program. We offer a discounted reduced rate of £700 if you're making payment upfront in full, or there are 6-month payment plan or 9-month payment plan options available to you with no fees and no interest. We also do partner with EdAid, and on application, they can, for UK residents and long-term visa holders, they can also offer a 24-month payment plan, again with no fees and no interest. The intent there is to ensure that this is accessible for many, even though there are limited placements. We do want to enable payment plans that aren't charging you interest and things like that, to enable your participation and your career acceleration, obviously, is the intended outcome of the program. I'll just double check if there are any other questions. It doesn't look like there are. So I'd like to ask one of you, myself, Christian, if that's okay, to finish up on. And just a reminder for everyone, in the chat function, there are numerous things that I'll ask you to action following the event. But firstly, Christian, before I say thank you, are there any tips or anything that you feel we've missed that would be valuable for people to understand when considering the Career Accelerator as their choice?
So I think, like, wrapping up what, condensing down everything I was saying or I was experiencing, I think it's a very fast-paced program. You have to you have to know the specifics before. So I was able to clarify all of them with a personal call in advance to the program. But besides from this, I still think I was very not surprised, but every week I felt like, wow, this is other from what I was experiencing before in my studies and everything. So for me, it was a very helpful program. I achieved everything, but also I want to mention that there are specifics, like the onboarding phase, which are, I think, very, very specific to this program, and which helped me a lot to remain focused and walk through the program and then set your goals and accomplish what you be aiming for. So I think commitment to the structure of the program, because it's well thought out, is very important, and then you increase your probability to achieve what you want to achieve.
Exactly. Good on you. Thank you. It is. I asked everyone in the audience now to consider what your next step is, be it downloading the brochure, be it booking a time with your enrolment advisor for a chat, just to chat about your circumstances and what it is that you're striving to achieve. They're certainly going to ask you those questions first, rather than just going, rah, 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 this is the benefits. Christian, thank you ever so kindly for so much of your time when you're so busy. We very much appreciate it, as I'm sure anyone viewing this in the future will as well. We're very proud, firstly, of your success, not only in the program, but in achieving your intended outcome so quickly following the program. And no doubt your young one, your wife, and others will be most proud also of your ongoing career advancements that we hope to follow and celebrate as well. Christian, thank you for so much of your time.
Thank you for the invitation, and I hope I was able to deliver some insights.